Yo, leader of these stupid contractors. We are going to make your delivery date even sooner.
Good evening, Nick. You can call me Candace, by the way. I understand that my company is full of contractors that supply parts for you, but it'd be nice if you still referred to me by my actual name, please.
Sure. So you're gonna get those parts to me even sooner, right?
I'm sorry to say this, but I don't believe that we can.
Huh? Are you kidding me right now? You're nothing more than the leader of a small contractors group who does nothing more than make spare parts for larger firms like me. And you're saying you can't get a job done sooner for me?
I'm just telling you the reality of the situation, and asking for those parts sooner isn't going to happen.
Then in order to make things go more quickly over at your factory, I'm going to be sending some of my men over to help. Mike, Brent, and Stuart.
Huh? Are you sure you want to send those three? As far as I'm aware, they're all your top 3 performing workers, and they shouldn't be asked to come help with my team. And haven't they been with you since you started?
What difference does that make to me? I'm sending them to help you out because those 3 ended up stabbing me in the back. So I had them all fired for that.
Don't you think you've gone a bit too far by doing that to them? They might even take action against you for doing something like that.
Well, it's not like I fired them wrongfully. Those 3 men wanted to change their occupations.
They wanted to change? Wait, you have to understand that those 3 are too old now to be changing their lines of work now.
Jeez. No matter how much I try and break things to you, you can't seem to get a grasp of things. The reason I'm giving them up is because I've hired some friends of my own, and I needed to make space on my payroll, and did so by firing those 3 geezers.
You hired your own friends?
I had some friends who went to the same university as me who said they were looking for some work. And they told me they wanted an easy job that paid them well. And so I made it seem as though those 3 old men stabbed me in the back some way, and then had them fired to make room for my buddies.
Are you being serious?
I'm being very serious right now. So let's get back to what I came here to talk about. I don't need those 3 anymore, so you can go ahead and take them on as your employees and get the work I'm asking for done quicker. Then you won't have to keep making excuses for why you can't get any parts to me.
Hold on. I understand that you want this conversation to wrap up pretty quickly here, but I just want to make sure I have this all down correctly. You originally asked me to have my product to you sooner than the date we had agreed on, but I told you that no matter how much harder I pushed my workers, that wouldn't be possible. And so now you're going to give me 3 of your best men because you've hired some of your own friends to take their spots, and want your 3 best men to help my factory get said work done. However, what happens if we're still unable to get that work done at an earlier date?
As long as you take on those 3 old men, I don't care if you continue aiming for our previously discussed target date.
Understood. So that's going to be our agreement then today?
Correct. So what do you think?
Well, actually, I have one last thing to ask. I'm not completely sure what kinds of skills and trades these 3 men I'm about to hire have, but are you really sure you're okay handing them off to me?
Those 3 are able to get any work you ask them to get done. And they're all willing to work overtime whenever asked to make sure any quotas are hit. And as for their skills, you don't even have to worry about that considering they've all worked pretty much every job they've been asked to, and have done them well.
Well, if later down the road you ask for me to give them back to your company, please be aware that I will not.
I'm never asking for them back. They've grown far too old to help me now, and most of their motivation's down the drain now. Go ahead and fire them from your company if you ended up never needing them.
Is that so? Well, if that's what you want me to agree to, then so be it.
I'm not sure how helpful those geezers will be for you, but understand that me getting rid of them will not hurt my productivity in the slightest. So they're all yours now.
Then starting tomorrow, I will be taking on Mike, Brent, and Stuart to start working for me within my company. You don't mind that at all, correct?
Go right ahead. They are already being fired from my company, so you don't need to ask me for permission before doing anything with them.
Is that so? Understood. Thank you, Nick. I'll make sure to put them all to good use.
You sure about that?
Good morning, Mike. Long time no see. This is Candace from Wilds LLC.
My oh my. If it isn't the little girl of Mr. Daniels.
You don't have to keep calling me his little girl anymore. And as of right now, I've been given his company and everything, so you can call me the CEO of Wilds LLC now.
Oh, is that right? He made sure to put his daughter through it all so that she could become the perfect young woman. I can't say the same for the little man in charge of my last job.
Are you talking about that 26-year-old man, Nick, who's taken over your previous company and has started to make a name for himself there?
Right. I'm starting to get a little worried about him, especially after what he's been doing recently.
Well, I've heard all about him.
Huh?
Just yesterday he was talking with me about what he wanted from me, as well as what all happened with you guys. He told me that he had you and 2 other men, Brent and Stewart, fired so that he could hire more of his friends to come work for him.
Is that what happened?
To me, this all seems like unfair termination of your guys' jobs there. And as for me now, I don't mind talking more about what's been happening within that company. So, do you mind telling me a bit more about what's been going on there, and why Nick thinks this is all a good idea?
Sure. As far as I'm aware, he's been trying to work on cutting costs within the company so that he looks better in front of his shareholders. But in order to do that, he began sending a lot of his company's work overseas to be done for cheaper by foreign sources.
He's having everything manufactured overseas?
If the products he was having manufactured outside the US were any good, then I wouldn't be complaining. But it seems he doesn't mind that all the products we get in are trash. Well, anyway, if you want to hear the real reason the 3 of us were fired, it's due to us all complaining about the quality of what the company was bringing in from overseas. And the day after we complained, we were all informed that we've been terminated. At least to keep things as clean as possible with the terminations, he was willing to give us all packages.
I see. So this had nothing to do with him hiring friends to work for him then? Well, have you started to think about what you want to do now?
Well, not yet. I'm not sure what to do now. I've been thinking a lot about my family now, and I've been hoping that they understand that it'll be some time before I can find new work. Not only that, but I'm also getting pretty old now.
Mike, if you don't mind, would you like to come work for me?
Well that's...
And it wouldn't be just you that I'm asking, but Brent and Stewart as well. So what do you think?
Well, that is. I'm very thankful for you offering me a position within your company. We don't have too much longer before we all really start to consider retirement. So are you really okay with the 3 of us being hired into your company and working for you?
Well, to tell you the truth, I've actually begun working on creating a new department within my company. And soon I plan to hire in a lot of younger work to begin handling said new department. But I'm going to need a few men with plenty of years of experience in these fields to come in and train them so that they have a better understanding of the demands my company and this industry have. So if I have the 3 of you, with all the knowledge you men hold, join my company and work your last couple of years with me, then I feel that the opening of this new department will go very smoothly for me.
Is that so? Thinking that much about how to implement the 3 of us into your company. Thank you.
Also, having spoken to you about this, do you mind if I go and talk with Brent and Stewart now about the same thing?
Yes, please go tell them.
Then I'll plan to have them both well informed by this time tomorrow. And as for you becoming an employee within my company, I'd like you to tell me before tomorrow what days you'd like off this next year, and if you have any other demands you'd like me to meet.
Understood. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Candace! Give me back those 3 right now.
Huh? Ah, this must be you, Nick. It's been around a year now since the last time we spoke to one another. Now what do you mean by me handing those 3 back to you?
Those friends of mine that I hired to work for me ended up being completely useless. I thought for sure that since I knew all of them really well and knew the educations they had, it would work well under my leadership. But they haven't been able to do jack for me, and I can't use them anymore.
Well, that would happen, wouldn't it?
Also, here's something I heard while you've been holding on to these three. Apparently they have all been doing very well for themselves, and are considered top class in their fields now. I had to tell a lot of my customers why the quality of my products have gone down, and when explaining to them that I've gotten rid of Mike and those other two, they let me know how stupid I was.
I knew something like this would happen to you. After all, those friends of yours you've told me you hired are actually a bunch of overseas partners that you've been sending all your work off to for cheaper, hoping to save some money, right? Well, it seems that those savings you gained from doing so also ended up ruining the quality of all your products, and now you're left dealing with some very angry customers.
Please, Candace, give those three back to me so that they could fix all of this.
No way.
Why not?
They've made it very clear to me that they don't want to work under you anymore.
Well, I'll make sure to fix things. If you can get them to come back to me, I'll make sure to never rush a production ever again, or ask for anything more out of your company.
No thank you.
What?
I've just finished implementing a new department into my company that has ventured out into some new technologies. And that department has already been making my company tenfold what all the other departments have made, so if I were to send those three back to you, I'd lose my biggest profit maker.
Huh?
Also, on top of that, I told you a year ago when you told me to take them off your hands that if you ever wanted them back, I'd say no. And back then I know for a fact that you agreed with me on that term. So can you please stop trying to break the promise we had?
Candace, please. I'm asking you to please. Please just forget about everything you said to me a year ago and hand those three back to me. That's all I want. I'm not joking when I said that right now. My company is in seriously hot water. If I can't get my company back to producing quality goods, then it's all gonna go under.
Well, telling me all of that isn't going to get you anywhere. I'll be going now.
Hold on a second, Candace! Mike, please! I'm asking you to please come back to my company.
If it isn't my old boss, Nick. It's been such a long time now.
I don't need you to sit there talking like I'm some old friend of yours. Now get your butt back here. I'm telling you right now that I'm willing to hire you again.
I'm sure that what you're saying right now is a load of crap, right?
What are you going on about?
I could have sworn you told Candace that you had the three of us fired to make room for some of your friends to come and work for you, right? And that's the other thing. You didn't want to make it seem as though you fired us for that reason. So you also told Candace that we wanted to change careers anyway, right?
That was...
As far as I'm concerned, you wanted to hide your true intentions from everybody by saying that. Just so you didn't have to fear being taken to court for firing us unfairly. Well, no worries, Nick. We had only been with your company since the day it was founded by your father, and had made sure to work there with all loyalty to you guys. But after being fired by you for BS excuses, I think we no longer see you as the man your father was, and that's okay.
Huh?
As of right now, Brent, Stewart, and I no longer have to be worried about what we are going to do, because we have a new boss in charge of us, who is far more caring about the experiences we have as our employees. And, unlike you, she plans to only hold on to us for the next few years, so that when it's time for us to want to retire, she'll give us a very nice package and let us go. Of course, we could come back to you when our time is up here, and we've retired. But remember, we no longer feel loyal to you and your company, so I don't think you'll ever get our help when the time comes. Well, that's if your company is even around by that point.
Candace, hey! Please! how about you get married to me and then start helping my company get back on its feet so that the two of us can become a power couple?
Are you kidding me?
I understand it's not what either of us want right now, but I'd much rather be married to you and keep my company than have it to go under and no longer have any money. In other words, I don't have any other choice besides marrying you and getting your help. You don't even have to stay with me after my company is back on its feet. You can divorce me right after that, so please come help me.
Well, listen to this, Nick.
Yes?
I'm already married.
Huh? But your last name? That's the same name as your father's.
Well, that's because my husband ended up taking my family's name. And as of right now, we already have 2 kids, both in elementary school.
What the heck?
So we can be finished here, right?
I'm screwed.
Goodbye now, Nick. In the end, it seems that the second-generation CEO of that company ended up taking the company under. He did make mistakes by thinking he could cut costs by sending workers out to overseas partners to make parts for him, but the thing that really sunk his company was more personal. It's understandable that keeping workers for a very long time will see them costing you more money to keep employed, especially when they're good at their jobs. But Nick made a huge mistake getting rid of 3 of his best men so that he can cut costs, even though they were the ones carrying his company and making sure the quality was right. Anyway, after the loss of his company, he was still in debt to a few banks that he had been taking loans from to try and help his company. And to help start making some money to pay them off, he began working for one of his friends, at the starting level on the floor of the factory. But of course, he never lost that toxic personality of his, and so relations with the other workers within the factory began to sour. And before long, he was out of that job as well. I'm not sure what's happened to Nick since then, but I'm sure he's regretting what he did to his company a while back and will never be able to move on from it. And as for my company, we have been doing really well this year and expect to do even better these coming years thanks to the new department. However, it won't be long before I have to say goodbye to Mike and the guys, as they'll soon be on their way to retiring. Thank you for watching and listening. We hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Also, feel free to leave a comment about what you thought of the story. We look forward to seeing you at the next story. Keith? Let's start with you giving me a detailed explanation for all that's happened so far.
Asking me for an explanation, huh?
Today is supposed to be the day that my little sister has her wedding with someone, but why on the day of her wedding were you showing up to it wearing the groom's tuxedo? When I saw you walking in on my sister's wedding day as the groom, I was more shocked than actually angered with you. Even now, I'm having a hard time showing any other emotions besides shock because of how outlandish you've been.
Well, as you've pretty much seen everything for what it is, I shouldn't have to give you an explanation for what's going on here.
No, I deserve an explanation for all of that because I currently cannot believe my eyes.
Oh, for crying out loud, I guess there's no way I'm getting out of this without giving you a rundown, so I'll give you that explanation. I'm going to get married to your little sister, Joy, okay? I'm sorry for keeping all that a secret from you. Now, can we get to the part where you divorce me?
Huh? Since when have you been going after my sister, and when did she start to think it was okay to marry my husband?
Well, about half a year ago, I started to talk with her about my feelings towards her. She was working at the bar that I loved to go to a lot back then, and when she came up to me to get my order, she asked me if I was her sister's husband or not. That, I guess, is what you would actually consider the start to all this. And, well, from that point on, I tried my hardest to resist her looks, but man, did the image of me being her in my mind look amazing. And bam! She had a hold of me, and there was no other way for me to free myself anymore.
So you really were taken away by her looks?
Huh?
I know that I've already let you in on this whole story before, but let me explain to you one more time. The reason for why I left my family behind 5 years ago.
What? Why would I need to hear about that again?
My sister, Joy, she, for some reason, takes a liking in stealing anything I lay my hands on, whether that be things or people. And as for my parents, they're the kind of people that look past her doing that sort of stuff to me and love her with all their heart. So to escape such a hellish environment as that, I ran away from my home, leaving everyone in my family behind to start a new life where I didn't have to worry about Joy. Don't you remember when I told you the reason why I couldn't introduce you to my family before we were married was because of that reason? I guess you don't, because in the end, even you, Keith, even you became another part of my sister's hobby and have been stolen away from me.
Oh, come on now. I'm sure that you might just think that your sister is stealing me away from you without any actual emotion to it, but she really does love me, and I love her even more back. And you, of all people, being her sister, should be glad that she's finally found someone like me that makes her so happy. You being not happy to see that just shows how horrible of a person that you really are inside.
And the same could be said of someone that tries to have a wedding with his wife's little sister even before getting a divorce.
Excuse me?
To be honest, I never even wanted to be at my sister's wedding today. Well, either way, I'm going to head home now after this.
Hey! Things have only just begun, and I want you around to see it.
Do you actually think I want to stick around to see the end?
Huh?
You went out and told everyone that you divorced me, and that's how you got all your friends to make it to the wedding today. But those friends of yours that you went out talking to happened to be my friends as well, and figured out right away that something was wrong when the invitation said you'd be marrying my little sister. This isn't going to end well for you, Keith.
Huh? The friends that we both get along with know about this? I don't remember telling any of my friends who are your friends as well about this.
You did, but I won't tell you who. But those friends of ours saw that you sent invitations that you planned to marry my little sister. They were shocked to see that, but were even more shocked that you were doing all of this to me after everyone thought we had such a good relationship. Either way, people know just how messed up all of this is, and the word will start to spread, and everyone will begin to leave.
What?
You can choose to continue with the wedding if you'd like, but don't expect there to be many people remaining after learning about the crap you're trying to pull. Be ready to have the whole world pointing fingers at you for what you've done and calling you a freak and an idiot.
What? That's... Your sister and I were supposed to have a beautiful wedding today and be celebrated by everyone we invited.
Well, with that, in a few days, let's start talks about the settlement I plan to ask from you.
You're planning to ask for money from me now?
And don't plan on coming home today, okay? I don't want to see your face right now, and I don't want to be sleeping in the same house as you anymore.
Wait, Heidi.
I'll be going now. What the heck, Heidi? Hurry up and get everyone to come back to our wedding. Huh? Why are you asking me, of all people, to do that? If you want them all back there watching your messed up wedding, then you go get them yourself. But you're the one that did all of this, so you have to get them back here or else they won't listen to me. Just because your husband left you for me because I'm better in every way doesn't mean you can just start talking bad about us and getting everyone to leave the wedding we planned out. What the heck are you thinking? I didn't do anything to make those people start leaving. Those people were all told by a friend of mine, and they chose themselves to believe your wedding is messed up and leave. And I was out of there before everyone else started to leave, so how's that my fault? I'm not responsible for their actions, nor am I going to be responsible for getting them to turn around and go back to you. So go out and get them yourself. Come back here right now! Heidi! It's been destroyed. You may have ruined my whole wedding with what you did, but I'm still going to be married to Keith, and there's nothing you can do about it. Now just divorce him already so that I can have him. I am going to hand in our marriage papers soon, and then make sure that his parents understand that I'll be his new wife. Do you even know where his parents live? What the heck are you talking about? You are living with them right now, right? Huh? Those 60-year-old people that you're living with are his parents, right? I really want to come over there and introduce myself to them, but you're always sitting in their house with them and it's driving me nuts. Can you please hurry up and get lost already? Wait. Could you be mistaking my foster parents for his parents right now? Huh? Foster parents? After I left you guys in that house, I had gone out saying that I was a foster child who had no parents. And that's when I was able to find my foster parents who took me in even though I was already in my late teens. Did you not hear about any of this from Dad? Just wait a second. That means that the gorgeous house that Keith and you have been living in is... This is the house of my foster dad. Then what about Keith's parents? To be honest, I've never met either one of them either. He told me that right after he got into college, his parents went through a tough divorce and then moved off to different places without him. And ever since then, he's been without parents, and that all happened a while back, and he's never even heard from them since. Neither of us even know where they went, to tell you the truth. Huh? So I've never met either of his parents, and he was at least able to meet my foster parents before we had our wedding. Are you kidding me? So you never even talked with Keith about who the older couple is that we've been living with? Because if you asked him whether they were his parents or not, you would have gotten your answer a whole lot sooner. He just told me that I wouldn't be able to see them at the wedding. Well, him being vague with you about it and there being no explanation isn't my problem, but I will say this. Your reason for wanting to marry Keith hasn't been for him, but rather this amazingly beautiful house that I live in right now, right? Well, you getting to live in that house all by yourself with that older couple isn't fair. So that's why I looked for your husband, and when I found the bar he went to often, I applied for a job there and was able to make my move. I planned to marry him so that I could get that house and live there as well. And what about the name on that house? I made sure to double-check the last name on that house and everything. And I can confirm that the last name on that house is the same as Keith's. And that's because Keith took my new last name in the marriage. Huh? When I was adopted by my foster parents after running away from Mom and Dad, they helped me change my last name since I'm legally their child now. And so that would mean that both Keith and I share the same last name as the owners of this house. That's why the name on the house is the same as his last name, right? What the heck? How am I supposed to let you get away with some stupid reason like that? Why didn't you ever tell me you changed your last name sooner? I assumed you would have heard from Mom and Dad about how I found new parents and they adopted me. But to be fair, you never even listened to what I say anyway, and on top of that, after I ran away, you started to tell everyone you kicked me out of the house and that I was mentally ill. That was you spreading that rumor, right? Why would I care about you knowing about my situation after running away when you go and do things like that? Ah, that's right. How about you change your story about getting adopted and make it seem like I was adopted by them instead? If you let me become their child, then I'll let you have Keith back. What? All right, that's a pretty good idea, right? No, that right there is anything but a good idea. Why is it not good? I'm giving you back the man you love so much, right? In your case, you should be begging me to give him back to you. This is your chance. You think I'm still going to love the man that cheated on me with my little sister? Huh? That bastard told me why he went after you a little while ago and explained how much he loves you over me. As well as told me that you've been together for 6 months now. He told you that already? The fact that you're getting surprised by that is surprising. Then, what can I do for you that'll get you to let me be their kid? No matter what you do, you're not going to become their child. But that's not frickin' fair! You always get to have things your way, Heidi! Then, Joy, if you really want to become their new child, do you think you can speak 5 different languages within the next 2 years fluently like me? Huh? You have to be pretty globally sophisticated to be their child, as well as know a lot about my foster dad's company. What the heck? Why do I have to do all that? The reason for me being their foster child is because I helped my foster dad's business, and will someday be the one to take over their company. And that's going to be happening in the next 2 years, so I have to be ready. What? What does this even mean? If you can't do that, then stop trying to be their next child, okay? Also, in the next few days, I'll be asking for a settlement from you. A settlement? Why? Do you really think you could get away with stealing someone's husband and there'd be no consequences for it? Unlike all those times in the past, you're an adult now, and the only thing that can save you now is money, not your parents. So don't go trying to find a way out of this one, because you won't escape me. But you're asking for money from your own sister! Well, that's still up for debate, actually. Whether you really are my little sister anymore or just some stranger to me. But either way, I'm getting a settlement. You're kidding me! In my case, I had my husband stolen from me, so I have the right to take you to court and make you pay for the damages caused. So make sure you pay every penny I ask for, and then get out of my life. But this shouldn't be happening!
Hey, Heidi! You're asking me for over $60,000? Why do I have to pay you that much? You should only be able to ask me for a smaller amount based on me cheating on you, right? I already have to deal with paying for that failed wedding and the wedding ring, but now I'm being asked to pay $60,000?
Well, when it comes to that wedding you have to pay for, you used both our money to start paying for it, right?
Wait, what?
And as for some of the money that I had in my private savings account, you used it as well on that wedding. I don't know how you figured out my PIN for that account, but you took my money without asking.
So you want me to give that back to you, huh?
Well, when you add in that money you took from me in our shared account, the settlement comes out to $60,000.
But I don't have that kind of money right now.
Do you not realize that you stole money from me to use on a wedding with my little sister while we've still been married? If you thought that was okay, then I find it okay to make you go into debt to pay me back. And you have no right complaining to me now, right?
But this... For some reason, I haven't been able to get any response from Joy about this, and now I'm on my own, facing $60,000. Wait, what the hell is going on here? Why did I have to end up dealing with all this by myself? What did I even do that was bad enough to deserve all this?
Maybe go back and look at what you were explaining to me a little while back about what you did and my sister did. Anyway, I'm going to have my lawyer be the one to deal with you now. So take the number that's on that business card I left for you and talk with my lawyer if you have anything else to say.
And you're just gonna leave me now?
You already know the answer to that question, Keith. Now, goodbye forever.
Wait a second, Heidi. Having to get divorced from you in this manner? I don't have anywhere to go if you leave me like this. Heidi!
To start, let's talk about my sister, Joy. She had tried to get her parents to pay off the settlement I had asked for from her, but not even they had the money to pay for what I was asking. Just a little while back, the business they had ended up going bankrupt, and they had to sell their house in order to pay the bank, and have since then been without proper jobs. So with whatever money they all did have, they used to pay me, and then all had to move away into a small and worn-down apartment together. Joyce still hasn't paid everything off that I've asked for yet, but I'll make sure that she pays me little by little until she'd met the amount I've asked for. And now, here's what happened with my ex-husband. He had touched money that was not his in the first place, and even then, after using said money, he didn't have anything left to pay me that $60,000 I asked for. He ended up having to borrow money to pay the money I was asking for off, and then after that was left with no place to go. He began stalking Joy in hopes of getting money from her, and also handed in marriage paperwork to the city office without her approval. But what happens next with those two, now that they might get married, will have to be saved for another day, when there's more time to talk.